Victor Wembanyama has had a rookie campaign good enough for most people to consider him in the conversation for being a generational talent. His combination of skills, athleticism, basketball IQ, and most importantly size while standing at 7'5" make him an extremely unique and deadly player that most are unable to deal with. While he progressed through his rookie campaign, it seemed as though he took a 3-year leap, ending off the season legitimately in the conversation for best defender. Again, as a rookie. He was also no slouch on offense by the end of the season either. In the last 2 months of the season, Wemby was averaging around 23 points per game and 4 blocks per game. These are numbers that all-star centers in the peak of their career would be happy to get. On top of the great averages, Wemby has already been having some historic nights and shifting the workings of the league. A good example of this is the Spurs, led by Wemby dropping 34 points, managed to defeat the Denver Nuggets in one of the final games of the regular season, knocking the Nuggets down to 2nd seed in the West, which can be all the difference in the ultra-competitive Western Conference. Wemby has also already had a number of games nearing 10 blocks, including a game where he did actually get 10 blocks, a 10-block triple-double in fact, with 27 points and 14 rebounds. In short, Wemby is gonna be a problem in a few years. Given how he can pretty much do it all on the court at his size, there won't be many people capable of stopping him once he really locks in on his NBA development. Hell, it's already looking sketchy right now for people who can properly defend him or regularly score on him, and he's not even in his 2nd season yet. If Wemby ends up panning out to be the generational talent that he looks to be, the other teams will have to adapt. Wemby might just end up molding the entire league around himself. This is crazy, but luckily we can look to the past for another situation just like this, because there's already been another big man to go through his own journey of shaping the league single-handedly, Shaquille O'Neal. When Shaq hit the league in 1992, people knew there was something special about this guy instantly. He was a legit 7-footer who moved fluidly and quickly, had low post skills, and most importantly had a lot of natural strength. The guy was an offensive hurricane of a big man that would eat your favorite vet center alive without even breaking a sweat. It of course doesn't take Shaq very long to live up to his potential, and the league is soon scared. Shaq is dropping 30 on every center nightly while fouling them out. He's too big, too strong, and too skilled for everyone to handle. This leads teams to think outside the box on how to stop him. The solution that just about the whole league settled on was signing so-called Shaq stoppers to their roster. Most teams in the league eventually ended up signing at least 2 big guys who kinda sucked at basketball, yet could be thrown at Shaq to tire him out without risk of a good player fouling out. All of a sudden, the league was looking a lot bigger. Now, are Shaq and Wemby identical players? No, definitely not. In terms of big men, they actually couldn't be more different. Wemby is more of a skinny finesse player who abuses his height on offense, and clearly is a more skilled and more willing defender. Compare this to Shaq, the rampaging whale who would plow you on the floor on offense while not being as skilled of a defender or blocker. The key here is impact. In different ways, both are unstoppable, and although Wemby is probably a fraction of the strength of Shaq, him standing at 7'5" is a massive advantage for him. At least when Shaq was doing his thing, there were a few dudes that were his height or even taller than him. Good luck finding another good center who's 7'5" though. So given that he may just be more unstoppable than Shaq, are we about to see the league start gambling on giant centers that they can just throw at Wemby to tire him out? These guys might not be the most skilled, but the league might not have an option soon if Wemby turns into what he's projecting to turn into. How is somebody like 6'9" Bam Adebayo supposed to mark somebody 7 inches taller than him the whole game?
With the massive hype that was surrounding Wemby for an entire season before him even getting drafted, it would be extremely difficult for anyone to measure up to that hype and expectations. But just based off his rookie season alone, I think it's fair to say that Wemby has somehow managed to exceed those expectations. Averaging 21, 10, and 4 with 3.5 blocks a game on his way to easily securing the Rookie of the Year award after breaking free from Chet Holmgren conversations around halfway through the season, while making an All-NBA All-NBA Defensive First Team, and even being the runner-up for the Defensive Player of the Year award. And you gotta keep in mind, if all things go as planned, this is the worst version of Victor Wembanyama that we will ever see. With Wemby passing the eye test and also having a pretty large impact on his team in just his rookie season, it would be expected that the league is gonna start to shift and rework itself into a new era, similar to what happened around 2014 when Steph's three-point shot started to entirely change the direction of some NBA franchises, and we already may be getting a glimpse of Wemby having that similar effect. This most recent draft was somewhat underwhelming, to put it lightly, with some analysts saying that the top of this draft is like starting at pick 15 in any other of the most recent draft classes, so the fact that players like Donovan Klingon or Alex Sarr were considered lottery picks should mean something. Alex Sarr, who just had a very Tony Snell-esque game in Summer League, even before that averaging under 10 points in the Australian League. To put that into perspective, Jacques Landale was able to average 16 points a game in the same league. So it's clear that teams weren't looking at Alex for his offense by any means. And maybe a part of the reason why he was so high on many people's draft board is likely that he can be utilized as somewhat of a Wemby stopper. Continuing on from Victor Wembanyama's amazing rookie campaign, however, it feels like he's going to have a pretty amazing summer following that, as alongside Rudy Gobert, he will be headlining the French national team in Paris, being only 16 kilometers or around 10 miles from the Paris suburbs Wemby grew up in. And thanks to his impact, it does seem like the French team will be competitive. And unlike their American big man counterparts, like Joel Embiid, they strive and are used to playing in FIBA rules, and has more experience playing international ball in general. However, despite Wemby's insane impact, there's only so much he's going to be able to do to stop an entire roster filled with most likely future Hall of Fame players. But similarly to what we saw with Anthony Edwards in his ascension after a disappointing exit during last year's FIBA World Cup at the hands of the Germans, we could see a similar chip on the shoulder moment combined with a breakout moment that causes Wemby to come back next season on a warpath. As we've already said, it feels like Wemby has had 3 years of development wrapped up in a single season. So with the gained experience from the Olympics, the sky really could be the limit for Wemby. Not to mention the matchups he might face in the Olympics, with Jokic leading Team Serbia as well as the duo of AD and Bam Adebayo for Team USA, all of which have the potential to come back to the NBA and create long-standing battles similar to the ones seen between Hakeem and Shaq during the mid-90s. Either way, whatever happens at the Olympics, we are definitely heading toward a new era in the NBA. And based off the impact this early, teams may want to start planning right now and draft their way around different players that give them an upper hand against Victor Wembanyama, the NBA's boogeyman. If you made it this far, give the video a like. While you're down there, you might as well just subscribe and let us know in the comment section what you think about Victor Wembanyama and how he's going to impact the future of the NBA going forward. Thank you for watching this week's video, and we'll see you next week.